Welcome back, everybody. Today we're going to be talking about Freedom Seed carriers, or good old magazines. And along with that, we're going to talk about the Freedom Seed carriers carrier, the good old magazine pouches, all right, the mag pouches. All right, let's break it down real fast. You got two standard magazines that anybody can pretty much get their hands on. You got the good old metal ones, which is something that the Army has always been using for the longest time. They are now phasing these out, but it's taken them too long. They are now going to the good old PMag. Now, the PMag, a little bit cheaper to make because of the plastic. You don't have to worry about the metal so much. Also, with this plastic, doesn't sound a whole lot, whereas rattles like nobody else. Of course, when this gets wet, it's going to start to rust, and with the outer rust, it's just going to cause a lot of different problems on the internal mechanism. Granted, there's going to be a lot on the inside as well of these guys that if water gets inside will rust as well. But I've seen a lot of magazines go through at least the plastic ones go through a rigorous testing process, and they just seem to last a lot longer than these guys, especially when it comes to drop tests. With this plastic being flexible, it'll spring right back into place on the molecular level because you're not going to see that. Whereas the metal, if anything happens to any of these lips up here or any of these sides to where it bends in more into the round, it will not allow the bolt carrier group to catch the round inside and propel it into the chamber. So at the end of the day, I don't like the metal mags. Metal mags are not fun because they have so many different problems, and it's just not a good day. Whereas the plastic ones have a lot more opportunity to carry on, get destroyed, and still work fantastically. All right, so at the end of the day, purchase your good old plastic mag. All right, now what about their magazine pouches? Well, with magazine pouches, this one right here is standard issue. This is something that the Army gives along with these three right here. So these are the single pouch right here. I'll demonstrate. Look, boom, easy enough. The downside to this is how loosely it actually holds the magazine. I turn this thing upside down, give it a little bit of a shake, and there it goes. Not a good idea, okay? Now, standard issue with the 6, so you're carrying a total of 6 rounds inside, 6 magazines inside these pouches, plus you got a magazine inside your weapon. 30 rounds apiece, you're looking at 7, so 210 rounds of ammunition, which that's good and all, but doesn't help when some of those magazines are going to fall out when you have to go in the prone. So this was the standard issue. It's not very good anymore. So what the Army had been doing is they gave this as an option, and then they moved over to these double mag pouches as well. So I'm going to demonstrate that real quick. So with these double mag pouches, as long as you have some sort of MOLLE stuff on the back of your Kevlar or whatever it is that you're packing, then these guys will easily attach in. And then what you do, go ahead, just shove one in, and then you shove in number 2. There you go. Now you got your double mags. It's not going to be as bulky as this, or there's not going to be a lot of additional weight. So that additional weight is substituted with just having one. Granted, you're still going to be carrying the same amount of weight in ammo. So this stuff is great. Downside of this is it has a lip. Yes, this will help make sure that your magazines don't bounce around and all that good stuff, but when you have to go in and you've got to change mags, you've got to yank this apart and then go in and grab your new one and got to go right back to work. The issue is that if you forget to flip this guy down and you run too hard, that guy is going to fall right out. Not a good day. That is the benefit of this guy, is that he is open, or at least most of the people that you see, they run it open. They do have these flaps, this button here that you're able to click on there, and that will hold your mag in place. The downside is you have to, again, open this up, get into your magazines, okay? So that's the downside of a lot of these that the Army gives out, is that, yes, it has lips to help keep everything in place, but when you have to go to work, you have to practice opening everything up, getting inside, and changing mags. That is why I prefer something that is more open. Something like this or something like this, okay? When you have something that's open, it's so much easier to just go ahead and grab it. Now, the main thing that keeps these guys going at least for this one, is going to be this stretch cord right here. So that's what's going to allow the pressure on the sides to keep him from moving when you're running, but as soon as you need him, it's just loose enough that you're able to grab and go. And as you can see, I do have an assister on this guy, where if I didn't have him, he would look kind of just bare bones like this. But this guy, as I'm running, I don't have to worry about trying to get my whole hand around him. I'm able to just lip him, pull it out, and then I'm able to take it from here and shove it right into my weapon as needed. And then, of course, I also got pistol mags. Sadly, I don't have any pistol magazines on me right now, but these pistol pouches are also beneficial when they're exposed like this. Unlike, say, something like this, where it is closed, it does close, but it is easier if you just have something give it more tension on the sides, so that you don't have to worry about yanking this off, grabbing your mag, and going back to work. Granted, at the end of the day, however you train, that's what you need to be doing. So if you're going to train by opening up the lip, you got to train it like that as often as possible. And as soon as you move from, say, something that's something that secures it to something that only requires tension, you're gonna have to go back and retrain yourself so that you don't have to worry about muscle memory and messing you up when you're like, oh crap, there isn't a flap there. So just be aware that if you're going to switch from something that's enclosed to something that only requires pressure, you're going to have to retrain yourself so that muscle memory doesn't mess you up. Now, as you can see with my old kit, I did have two double magazine pouches. These pouches I did not purchase from or I did not get from the Army. Correction, I got these pouches from Warrior Tactical, which, if you're looking for stuff that is good and cheap, Warrior Tactical is a good group to go with. They have just about everything that you would need to get at least a good start, and then as you look for the more expensive stuff, you're able to figure out what you're liking a little bit more. Now, with these guys, yes, they are double mag feeds, which is great. But in this case, again, you still have the lip that's going to go over and secure everything. Again, I don't like the lip. But if you like the lip, that is completely up to you. A lot of this stuff is opinion-based and up to your own desires and your own wants. If this is something that you like and this is something that you train with, good for you. If this is something that you don't like, then train without, okay? Now, with everything, I mean, you can tuck it into the back. Happy days, there you go, and you're able to go in and grab as need be. So no harm, no foul. What I run with my kit currently is these Agilite mag carriers. What they do, it's nothing but tension, okay? So tension on the side, they're a little bit stiff. They have some plastic support in there. So, and sadly, I haven't been able to run enough with this guy to be able to break them in, because as you can see, he is a little stiff. He's a little stiff, but the more that I would practice with those guys, the better it would be. Now, if I wanted to, inside this mag pouch, there is Velcro on the sides, and I would be able to attach some supports so that I could bring it over and allow more tension to ride on these things. But with how tight it is anyway, there's really no need to put anything additional on there. So when it comes down to it, the argument is this. Do you want something that's open and exposed with no flap, or do you want something that does have a flap? And whatever it is that you decide, you need to train. You need to train with that thing. And if you decide to switch and go to something from, instead of open, you decide to go to closed, or if you go to closed, you decide to go to open, you need to train with that thing so that the muscle memory does not mess you up. So again, thank you for being here today. Let me know if you have any comments, questions in the comments section. Have a good one.